What would you do if someone built a $5 million mansion on your private lake? What if they ignored every warning and dared you to fight back? What if the law was on your side, but no one was listening? Would you stay silent or float their empire into the sea? This is the story of how I turned an illegal dock into a drifting lesson in karma. You ever stare at something so out of place, so brazenly illegal that you question reality? That's exactly what happened the morning I found a brand new, high-end dock stretching like a smug little pier into the lake I owned. Not rented, not shared, owned, deeded, surveyed, and paid for. At the end of that dock, a $5 million cabin, perched like royalty on the edge of my property, complete with glass walls, designer furniture, and the biggest American flag I've ever seen. Her flag, Karen's flag. This wasn't a neighbor dispute. This was a full-on land grab wrapped in HOA arrogance and legal threats. But what Karen didn't know was that this lake had rules. Rules that I wrote. And while she was busy sipping Chardonnay and bossing landscapers around, I was documenting every violation, every trespass, every smug little smirk. Because here's the thing about docks built on stolen land. They float. By the end of this story, Karen's designer dock would be bobbing in the open sea, her cabin a hollow symbol of unchecked greed. And me? I'd be standing on my shoreline, beer in hand, watching karma drift with the current. But before we get there, let me take you back 6 months. My name's Jack Weller. I'm not a flashy guy. I bought this 15-acre lot with the lake 15 years ago, with one dream in mind: peace. No road noise, no streetlights, just loons at dawn and my dog, Duke, chasing dragonflies. The lake's mine, fully. It's rare, but it's deeded into my land as a private body. That means any docks, cabins, or boats need my written permission, and I never gave it. 3 years ago, the Ridgeway Bluff HOA popped up next to my property like a fungus. The developer sliced up a hill into half-acre plots and started selling mountain modern homes to retirees with loud money. I didn't mind until Karen Holbrook arrived. Karen didn't move in, she arrived. Black Escalade, assistant with a clipboard, and a realtor who looked like he feared for his life. She picked the plot right against my eastern fence line. I should have known trouble was coming when she joked that my lake would make a lovely view for her yoga deck. At first it was harmless. Her landscapers trimmed a few too. Many trees, and accidentally crossed my fence to dump debris. I talked to her. She said she'd handle it. Then came the letters from the HOA telling me to maintain the visual standards of the community. Even though I wasn't in the HOA, I ignored them. Then they started sending fines. I sent them right back. Then came the sounds of construction. Big sounds, excavators, drills, concrete mixers. One morning, I kayaked to the far end of my lake and saw it. Massive concrete footers being poured into the bank. That was just the beginning. I tried diplomacy. I asked Karen's assistant what was going on. She said, "We're building a small water access platform for property enjoyment." Property enjoyment? On my land? I hired a surveyor to reconfirm my boundary. It hadn't changed, but the dock kept growing. The concrete footers turned into a steel-framed structure. Then came decking, lights, even a boathouse. I called the county. No permits. I filed a cease and desist. Ignored. Then came the real kicker. Karen announced to her neighborhood's Facebook group that she'd finished construction on her new lakeside retreat. She posted photos of herself holding wine on my shoreline, with captions like "Blessed" and "Lakeside Living." I replied with a copy of my deed. The post vanished. But the next morning my mailbox had been knocked off its post. Duke found a bag of fish guts thrown over our fence. HOA fines escalated from $100 to $500 per infraction. I installed trail cams. I got footage of her groundskeeper spraying herbicide over my wildflower meadow. I called the sheriff's department. They shrugged. Civil matter. It got to me. I started second-guessing everything. Was I being too rigid? Too territorial? Then she built a fence. Across the lake path I used to kayak. With signs. Private access only. HOA. Residents. That was when I stopped questioning myself. That was when I started planning. Because you see, Karen made a crucial mistake. She didn't just build illegally. She built floatably. Floatable structures require anchoring. Turns out, Karen's fancy dock was secured by 6 removable steel pins and weighted chains. I knew this because I'd hired a diver. The dock had been designed to be semi-mobile, possibly to skirt permanent structure rules. Ironically, that made it easier for me. I prepared a dossier, photos, timestamps, property lines, contractor names, videos of the illegal fence. Then I sent a certified letter demanding she remove all structures from my lake within 30 days. Her response? A letter from the HOA's lawyer, claiming historic community use and threatening me with adverse possession. So I waited, quietly. Meanwhile, I filed complaints with the county, State Environmental Agency, and Fish and Wildlife. I even got a reporter from the local paper interested. Then came the weekend she went to Napa. I rallied 2 buddies and a local contractor, who hated HOAs as much as I did. We arrived at dawn with a barge, some tools, and a GoPro. One by one, we removed the dock's pins. We winched the anchor lines. We gently pushed with the barge until that pristine, overbuilt dock drifted into the center of the lake. Then, using the current, we nudged it toward the narrow canal that leads to the ocean inlet. We filmed the whole thing. No property damage, no harm. Just a floating reminder that you don't steal someone's lake and expect to keep your wine. Fridge. Karen came back Monday morning. I was sipping coffee on my porch. She stormed over, phone in hand, screaming about theft and federal crimes. I calmly handed her a copy of the survey, her own letters, and a laminated still from the GoPro. Footage labeled Exhibit A, your dock. Setting sail. She called the police. They arrived, I showed my documents. Her claims fell apart fast, especially when I explained she had trespassed, dumped waste, and erected illegal structures. But the real blow came 2 days later, when the county issued a $100,000 fine for unpermitted development in a protected watershed. Her HOA insurance didn't cover it. Then the paper ran a story titled, "Choa Queen Loses Crown Over Lake Grab." Comments were brutal. Turns out she wasn't well liked in her own community. Her assistant quit. Her lawyer dropped her. And the HOA? They removed her from the board. The dock? Last I saw, it had made it to the open sea, still largely intact, bobbing like a forgotten yacht. I printed one of the photos, framed it, and hung it in my cabin. Captioned, "Return to sender. I didn't want this war. All I wanted was peace." But peace doesn't come from backing down when entitled people rewrite the rules. Karen thought her money and HOA status made her untouchable. What she didn't count on was someone willing to stand calmly, thoroughly and legally in her way. In the end, she moved out, sold the cabin to some quiet newlyweds, who asked me first before fishing off the bank. We're on good terms. The lake's peaceful again. Duke still chases dragonflies. I still sip coffee at sunrise. But every now and then, I take out my binoculars and scan the horizon, just in case another floating dock decides to visit. Lesson of the story? Know your land, stand your ground, and always document everything. Also, never underestimate the power of a floating revenge. Comment below. What would you have done if someone built on your lake? And if you made it to the end, comment, because in the end, that's exactly what it was.